I was a childhood sweetheart with Vex. And we even had a betrothal arranged by our families when we were kids. In the third year of senior high school, I caught him being deeply in love with Siren. After struggling for a long time, I finally revealed the truth about their relationship. Overwhelmed with shame, Siren tried to flee the scene but got into a car accident on the way. Vex blamed me for everything and imprisoned me in the basement, torturing me until I died. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back in the third year of senior high school. This time, I don't know either of you. Stay away from me. Astra, shall we go home together? I stood there in a daze, watching as Vex skillfully took my school bag from me. The scene was familiar. And the person was familiar too. I realized that I had been reborn. Back to the time before I exposed Vex and Siren's relationship. I could still feel the pain from my previous life. When Vex touched me, I instinctively dodged. A hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. And he silently withdrew his hand. Astra, what's wrong with you? Are you not feeling well? Holding back my overwhelming hatred, I shook my head. I still have something to do today. You can go first. Vex seemed to want to say something but held back, under my gaze of refusal again. He had no choice but to leave alone. Astra, why didn't you go with Vex today? Did you two have a fight? Chatter. The girl sitting in front of me asked me curiously. I was in a complicated mood and couldn't find a good reason to send her away. So I just silently shook my head, carried my school bag, and walked out of the classroom alone. Everyone I knew around me knew that Vex and I were childhood sweethearts. When we were kids, the elders in our families even joked about arranging a betrothal for us. Vex also said that he would definitely marry me when we grew up. So, since I was a child, I had always been his shadow. And when his friends teased that we were a couple, he never denied it. Until one day, I went to Vex's house and accidentally entered his basement. The whole basement was filled with intimate photos of him and a woman. The diary in the corner was densely filled with the love story between the two of them. Of course, I knew this woman. She was Siren, the daughter of Vex's father's friend. Vex's father's best friend died while saving him. So Vex's father took in his only descendant to take care of. When I saw all these, my mind went blank. I cried and tore down the photos, took the diary, and went to confront them in front of everyone. It was obvious that Siren had hooked up with Vex after she moved into the Vex family. I remembered that at that time, Vex's father slapped Siren hard because the two of them had embarrassed him and angrily rebuked her for hooking up with his son. No matter how Vex tried to explain, it was useless. And he was locked in the room by his father. Siren was so ashamed and angry that she drove away from the Vex family that night. However, driving at high speed all the way, she got into a car accident on the highway. Vex blamed Siren's death on me and imprisoned me in the basement that was full of their love memories. He said that if it weren't for me, Siren wouldn't have died. After he graduated, he could have eloped with Siren. He took pleasure in torturing me every day, injecting water into my muscles with a syringe, pulling out all my fingernails, and sewing up my eyes. Finally, having fulfilled he cut off my limbs and dismembered me until I died. Even though I was reborn, I still remembered the pain of the past. This time, I hope the two of them will stay away. I don't know them. This was one of the rare times in recent years that I went home alone. Vex's father made some money from doing business a few years ago and moved into the villa area of the community, while my family still lived in the ordinary high-rise area. Passing by the gate of the Vex family's villa, I saw Siren. Siren was 25 years old this year. She was young and good-looking, exuding a more mature charm than me, a high school student. No wonder Vex was so obsessed with her. But when she saw me, a hint of jealousy flashed in her eyes. Astra, you're back? Isn't Vex with you? She was jealous that Vex had me, his first love, who stuck to him every day, while her relationship with Vex was like a mouse in the gutter, something that couldn't be shown in public. In the past, I didn't pay attention to these details at all. I looked obedient and pretended to be surprised. Siren, I had something to do today, so I didn't come back with Vex. Hasn't he arrived home yet? By calling her Siren like this, I immediately made Siren lose her composure. She was only about 7 or 8 years older than me. But I called her aunt. But she couldn't get angry because according to seniority, Vex's father was my father's uncle. She was indeed my aunt. Siren's face froze a bit. And she pretended to be sad. Astra. Did I do something wrong? You used to call me Siren. But why are you being so distant from me today? I looked serious. My parents taught me that I can't just call you Siren all the time. I should call you like this. Otherwise, it would be too impolite. I'll go in first and see if the nanny has finished cooking. Vex and Uncle will be back for dinner later. Siren could only smile awkwardly and found an excuse to go back inside. Looking at the closed door, I couldn't hold back my overwhelming hatred anymore. In my memory, Vex's father wasn't a good person either. After discovering my death, he even helped Vex cover up the evidence of the crime and watched my parents running around searching for me with an innocent look on his face. This time I want Vex's father to discover the unsightly relationship between his son and Siren by himself. It would be best if the three of them start fighting among themselves. When I got home, my mother was cooking. I hugged my mother from behind. Mom, I miss you so much. My mother pulled my hand away and scolded. Stay away from me. Be careful, the oil splashes on your hand. I smiled playfully and poked my head out. Mom, what delicious food are you making today? The braised taro and chicken that you like. The braised taro and chicken that I loved was stewing in the pot. And I swallowed my saliva frantically. My mother picked out a piece from the pot for me. Look at you. You little glutton. Come and try a piece. How does it taste? Looking at my mother's loving expression, the corners of my eyes turned slightly red, and tears couldn't stop flowing out. After I died, my soul didn't disappear immediately. I watched with my own eyes as my father, who used to have black hair, turned white overnight, and my usually high-spirited mother ran around searching for news of me. If they knew that I died in that small basement and was brutally dismembered, would they collapse? Hey, my dear. What's wrong? Why are you crying? Did you get burned? Or did someone make you unhappy? I rarely cried. And my mother was immediately flustered. I quickly wiped away my tears and explained, nothing. I'm just a bit unhappy because I didn't do well in this exam. Because Vex was weak in liberal arts. He always dragged me to tutor him. At that time, I was so infatuated with him that I didn't have time to review my weak subjects at all. This time, my grade dropped from the top 10 in the school to the 20th. My mother finally let out a sigh of relief and comforted me. It's not a big deal. Our Astra is so smart. You'll definitely do well in the next exam. Stop crying. Go wash your hands. Dear. Your father will be back soon. And it's time for dinner. I put down my school bag and obediently went to wash my hands. After dinner, I sat quietly in my room and finished my homework. My phone kept vibrating. And I opened it irritably. All the messages were from Vex. Astra. And said that you cried today because you didn't do well in the exam? I'm sorry. It's all my fault for pestering you to help me review. Otherwise, you wouldn't have done so poorly in the exam. Don't be sad. I'll take you to the amusement park tomorrow. Okay? Stop crying. My dear. I looked at the messages coldly. I couldn't understand why this murderer could be so disgusting. He was secretly in love with Siren on one hand and flirting with me on the other. After thinking for a while, I still replied to his message. Since you know it's because of you that I didn't do well in the exam, don't disturb me while I'm studying anymore. I ignored him and turned off my phone. I still had to continue studying. I had a bright future. But this murderer didn't. But I didn't expect that Vex would be so hard to deal with. Early the next morning, he came to my house and waited for me. My parents didn't know about what happened between Vex and me in my previous life. They thought that Vex and I were still close childhood sweethearts. So they let him into our house directly. This time when I saw Vex, I learned to control my emotions. Just like usual, I invited him into my room. And my mother even cut some fruits and served them to him herself. Tsk. He didn't deserve to eat them. I quietly moved the fruit plate a bit closer to me. Why did you come to see me all of a sudden? Vex didn't notice my little move. He thought I was throwing a tantrum. Astra. Your phone was turned off. And I couldn't contact you. So I came to find you. It's the weekend today. Let me take you to the amusement park to relax? I shook my head and didn't want to get involved with him. No. I have to stay at home and review my lessons. Vex was taken aback. And a hint of darkness flashed in his eyes. Then he said in a low voice, "Are you still angry? Can't you be more sensible? I've come to coax you. You're still throwing a tantrum with me over such a small thing. Since I didn't give Vex a way out. He scolded me for losing my temper and being unreasonable. To be honest, he was really ordinary. It was just my love that gave him an air of superiority. This love had long since disappeared in that dark and sunless basement. I said calmly, I'm not throwing a tantrum. It's just that I'm in the third year of senior high school. And I really need to study hard. I'm different from you. My goal is to get into Tsinghua University or Peking University. As for you. I stopped halfway through my sentence. Although Vex's grades weren't too bad. With some effort. He could still get into an ordinary first-class university. I was different. With my grades. Although it was still a bit difficult to get into Tsinghua or Peking University. I had no problem getting into other 985 universities in China. My tone and eyes were full of contempt. Vex's expression changed when he realized this. He seemed to be trying his best to control his anger. And his face turned so dark that it seemed to drip ink. Astra. What do you mean? Do you want to draw a line with me? I ignored him. Ate the fruits cut by my mother. And said casually, think whatever you want. I just want to study hard and don't want to waste my time on fun like you. Fine, let out a low sigh. You said this yourself. Don't come crawling back to me and begging for a reconciliation like a dog later. Vex left with a dark face and slammed the door. Actually, I hadn't even finished my sentence yet. We weren't even together in the first place. So where did the idea of reconciliation come from? These words were so disgusting. The way he looked now was also disgusting. I was really blind in the past. After Vex left, I immersed myself in studying. After organizing the wrong questions from this exam, I took out the test papers and started doing a lot of exercises. There were only a little over 3 months left until the college entrance examination. What I needed to do was to maintain my current grades and try to improve them a bit more. After finishing several test papers, it was already dark. My mother had knocked on the door 3 times to urge me to have dinner. I put down my pen and walked out of the room. I saw my father sitting on the sofa smoking a cigarette. There was a notebook on the coffee table. And he was calculating the accounts while pressing the calculator. Dad. What's going on? My father didn't hide it from me. Seeing me come out, he put out his cigarette and said with a melancholy tone, Vex's father wants me to invest with him. I've calculated that it will cost 2 million yuan. The available money in our family is only a little over 1.5 million yuan. I'm wondering if I should borrow some. Anyway, your Vex's father said that we can earn it back soon. In my previous life, it was on this weekend that I discovered the underground relationship between Vex and Siren. At that time, my mind was full of Vex's messy business. And I knew nothing about what had happened in my family during that period. Vex's father, I definitely don't trust this person. I immediately stopped my father and said, Dad, didn't you say you would buy me an apartment after my college entrance examination? If you invest all the money, what about my buying a house? Rather than investing the money in a villain like Vex's father, it's better to use it to buy a house. At least the housing prices in our city have been rising in recent years. And we will definitely not lose money. But after all, Vex's father is my father's friend for many years. And my father trusts him very much and won't change his mind just because of 1 or 2 words from me. My father was still hesitating. But your Vex's father said that it won't take long to get the money back. I just want to earn more money to buy you a better house. So that you will have less pressure in the future. There were already some imperceptible white strands in his hair. And in every gesture, he was planning for my future. My father has never been stingy in expressing his love for me. After being reborn, I have asked myself countless times why I fell for Vex when I have parents who love me so much. Maybe it was because of that bit of childhood friendship that I mistook it for love. I stopped my father, who was still calculating, and said, Dad, I will work hard to make money in the future. you don't have to work so hard. And there's no investment that can guarantee getting the money back. Don't end up losing both the money and something else. As soon as my mother heard this, she immediately chimed in. Astra is right. The risk of investment is too high now. Don't empty out our family's savings just because it's Vex's father. I think it's better to keep the money for buying a house. The money is in my hands. You two, father and daughter, go wash your hands and come to eat. Don't think about these unnecessary things. My mother holds the financial power in our family. And she is a rather cautious person. When she heard that Vex's father asked my father to invest together, she was already a bit reluctant. Now that I had spoken, she immediately united with me and brushed the matter aside. The minority should obey the majority. So my father also gave up the idea of investment. Unexpectedly, having fulfilled my obsession. In the end, this matter became the last straw that crushed the Vex family. After the weekend ended and I returned to school, the news that I had a falling out with Vex somehow spread. Everyone thought that we, as a young couple, were in a cold war and throwing a tantrum. And I didn't mind the trouble. I explained one by one that I had no relationship with Vex. We were just neighbors and had never dated. I thought that after I had said so, anyone with a bit of self-awareness wouldn't have the nerve to come up to me. But I still underestimated someone's shamelessness. During the break, Vex stood in front of my seat, looking down at me, and his tone was full of a sense of condescension. Astra, lend me your chemistry notes. I didn't even look up and continued to work on the problems. Vex thought I didn't hear him. So he said it again. Astra, lend me your chemistry notes. TSK, has K. What a thick skin. I continued to ignore him and didn't want to waste words with a murderer. Vex completely broke down because of my ignoring him. I've given you a way out. How long are you going to keep making trouble? With your temper. Who else can put up with you except me? I slightly raised my head and took a calm look at Vex, whose face was turning dark. 2 sentences to teach you how to irritate someone. You are so arrogant. Classmate. Do you know that you are an eyesore? Hearing this, the classmate sitting in front of me was shaking violently all the time, which was constantly reminding us that she couldn't hold back her laughter anymore. Even with Vex's thick skin, he couldn't stay any longer. Just like the villain in a novel. He left with the words, "Don't regret it. Don't come begging for my forgiveness later." After he left, Chowder, the classmate sitting in front of me, turned around and rolled her eyes in the direction Vex had left, and complained, "You two have already broken up. Where did he get the nerve to ask you to lend him your notes? Look at his bossy attitude. Except for his face, which is a bit presentable, he's good for nothing. I don't know why you liked such a person before. Sis, it's a sigh. You can scold him. But don't scold me." I retorted. "Don't talk nonsense. I never liked him. We are just neighbors who grew up together. I have nothing to do with him. Don't smear me with such false accusations." Chowder had an expression that said she understood me. Like she knew I didn't want to be associated with that scumbag. Got it. The two of us talked back and forth, belittling Vex. But thinking about what happened before I was reborn, I'm not going to let him off so easily. Some things must be done before the college entrance examination. I want him to be unable to take the college entrance examination and be trapped in a quagmire and unable to extricate himself. Some things were put on my agenda. There were only 3 months left before the college entrance examination, and I didn't have much time to take revenge on the Vex family myself. I took out the scholarship I had received in recent years, and my usual lucky money. It wasn't a large amount, but it was still several tens of thousands of yuan. I specifically hired someone to keep an eye on Siren and Vex for me. It's too easy to let Vex's father find out everything in the basement. It would be more exciting to let him catch the two of them in the act directly. As soon as there is any sign of Siren and Vex, they should immediately contact Vex's father. After arranging the matter of having someone keep watch, I threw myself into my studies. In the second mock exam, I scored 660 points and ranked 5th in the school. The difficulty of this second mock exam was relatively high. According to the homeroom teacher, as long as I perform stably, I should be able to score 20 to 30 points higher in the college entrance examination than in the second mock exam. With my grades, it's at least no problem for me to enter a 985 university other than Tingshui University and Peking University. But for Tingshui University and Peking University, it's still a bit of a stretch. Although I'm not very satisfied, I can still accept it. There are still 2 months left. Even if I can't change my destiny against all odds, as long as I'm diligent enough, I can live up to myself in the future and won't regret it. But Vex's grades weren't so good. Without my help in the second mock exam, he scored 490 points. Even if the college entrance examination is easier than the second mock exam, he can at most score 520 points. With this score line, in our province, he can only hover around the first batch admission line. After school, I passed by the Vex family's house as usual. Presumably, they already know Vex's grades, which are a full 20 points lower than last time. In the Vex family's villa, the sound of Vex's father's scolding to be heard. How could I have given birth to such a useless thing like you? I've spent so much money on your education, but you're getting worse and worse. Look at Astra. She scored 660 points this time. And look at you. Only 490 points. You can't even compare to a woman. Aren't you ashamed? Vex's hysterical voice rang out. She's so good. Why don't you take her as your daughter? Do you think I want to be your son? I stopped in my tracks and found a good spot to watch the drama. Yo yo yo. Vex's father probably didn't hear the hidden meaning in these words. Siren is 7 years older than Vex, and he will definitely not agree to Vex being with Siren. Vex's father thought that Vex was rebelling. You little brat. You're going too far. Everything you're eating, wearing, and using now, which one was unturned by me? I'll beat you to death. I stood outside the door. On tiptoe, but still couldn't see the scene inside the door. TSK. It's a bit of a pity. I wanted to see Vex get beaten. Suddenly, heading full way, the door opened with a click. I didn't have time to adjust my expression, and Vex caught me craning my neck to look inside. He stopped in his tracks and said unhappily, "What are you doing here? Did you come to laugh at me?" "You guessed it right." "Yes," I said with a worried look. "I'm worried about you. Are you okay?" Vex sneered. "Stop pretending. Didn't you break up with me before? Are you regretting it now?" Just as I was about to open my mouth to refute, a voice came from behind Vex. "You little brat. You still want to run away. If you step out of this house, don't come back." Vex glanced at me, gritted his teeth, and ran out of the house. Vex's father and Siren chased after him, but Vex had already run out of sight. "Astra, you're back?" Vex's father, who had just looked angry, instantly changed his expression when he saw me. His tone was eerily amiable. I nodded obediently. "Hello, Uncle Vex. What happened to Vex?" Vex's father looked helpless. "He did so poorly in this exam. I just said a few words to him, and he threatened to run away from home. You tell me, why do kids these days have such a bad temper?" I looked in the direction where Vex had disappeared and said, "But is it safe for him to go out alone like this?" Just as Vex's father was about to speak, Siren beside him took over the conversation with a worried look. "Yeah, honey. Vex is still young. Why don't I go out and look for him? In case something unexpected happens." After thinking for a moment, Vex's father nodded. After getting Vex's father's permission, Siren looked at me triumphantly. It was as if she had written the words, "I'm going out to fool around with Vex," on her face. Since all the key people had left, it was no longer interesting for me to stay. Just as I was about to leave, Vex's father called out to me. "Astra, is your father at home? My dad hasn't gotten off work yet." "Uncle Vex, is there anything wrong?" Vex's father hesitated for a moment and thought that it wouldn't be a big problem to talk to a little kid like me. "I have an investment project that I want to do with your father, but I haven't been able to find him recently." I looked surprised. "Uncle Vex, you want to do a project with my dad? But how can we do it if our family doesn't have the money?" Vex's father became anxious, and his tone was also a bit irritable. "How can there be no money? You don't have much expenditure usually. You should have saved about 1 million yuan in the past few years. Right? My eyes darkened a bit. And the strange feeling in my heart seemed to be confirmed. Looking at his impatient appearance, I knew that this investment was most likely a scam. We used all the money in our family to buy me a house. Didn't you know that, Uncle Vex? My parents said that they will transfer the new house to me after my college entrance examination. I looked at Vex's father innocently and saw his face turn green and then white, which was really interesting. He didn't even pretend anymore and directly closed the door with a dark face. However, it doesn't matter. The fish has already taken the bait. The person I hired told me that Vex and Siren had entered a hotel. It seemed that they had already checked in. Today is a good day. Just right for catching the adulterous couple. And Vex's father is still angry now. I'm afraid these two adulterous people won't have an easy time. I sent a message to the other person. Get ready to close the net. On the way home, I deliberately played a song called Good Luck Comes. I even had a great appetite at dinner and ate 3 big bowls of food. Until I finished my homework. There was quite a bit of discussion coming from the living room. What's wrong with Vex's father? Why are the police here? What else could it be? The girl who was staying at his house is said to have climbed into his son's bed. The two of them were reported for an improper relationship, and Vex's father has just come back from the police station to bail them out. TSK. 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 He also said that it must be this woman who seduced his son. Bah. I think a fly doesn't bite a seamless egg. His son must not be a good person either. It is said that the boy is still defending that woman now. Brother Astra's father. I know that you have a good relationship with Vex's father. But Astra is a good girl. She has such good grades. And the college entrance examination is coming up soon. You should keep her away from that boy of the Vex family. Sitting in the living room was the most gossipy auntie in our community. She knew that my family had a good relationship with the Vex family, and specially came to tell us the gossip. After listening for a while, I did a few more test papers. Things had come to this point. And they really deserved what they got. None of them were innocent. After the living room became quiet, my room door was knocked on. Astra, have you gone to bed? Can I come in? It was my mother's voice. No. Mom. Come in. The door isn't locked. My mother pushed the door open and came in. Seeing me doing test papers, she touched my head with relief. Astra, remember to rest early. You should combine work with rest. I nodded. This is the last question. I'll rest as soon as I finish it. Okay, dear. After saying that, my mother stood silently behind me, as if she didn't know how to start the conversation. I had to break the ice myself. Mom, did you come here to talk to me about what happened just now? Mom doesn't object to you making friends. But the Vex family is in such a situation now. And I'm afraid it will affect your college entrance examination. Your dad and I just discussed it. Mom has a friend who has a house next to your high school. How about we move there and live for a while? After your college entrance examination is over, we can move back. You see, now it takes you over an hour to go back and forth. But if you live there, it's only a 5-minute walk to school. It's so convenient. My mother said it very euphemistically. She has always respected my opinion. At the beginning of the year, when she found out that I liked Vex, she told me that I was already an adult and could be responsible for my own actions. As long as it didn't affect my studies and I could ensure my own safety, she wouldn't object to me being in a relationship. So, she was afraid that I would be stimulated by what happened today. Out of sight, out of mind. It would be better to move away as soon as possible. Of course, I couldn't wish for anything more. With that extra hour or so, I could do a lot more exercises. Mom, let's move tomorrow. The next day, after I went to school, my dad and mom moved in a hurry. They didn't even say goodbye to the Vex family when they left. After living near the school, it was indeed much more convenient. I had more time to prepare for the college entrance examination. I didn't pay attention to what was going on outside. I didn't even care that Vex hadn't come to school. However, the news of their improper relationship spread throughout the whole school. It was said that his basement was also exposed on the internet. Of course, I didn't ask anyone to expose it. It was his own father who exposed it in a fit of anger. Things in their family could be summed up in one word: extreme. The next time I saw him was during the third mock exam. There were still bruises on his face. After all, he was still a student. The head teacher asked him if he needed any help. He shook his head. But there was a hint of deeper meaning in the look he gave me. After the third mock exam ended, I was stopped by Vex at the school gate. I didn't want to have too much contact with him, but he stopped me forcefully. Astra, I'm sorry. Siren and I are truly in love. After the college entrance examination is over, we will leave the Vex family. You can understand me, right? I didn't understand why. Since we had already completely broken up, he still came to talk to me so much. Was he trying to build an image of a deeply affectionate person? He was just crazy. I nodded perfunctorily in agreement. I can understand. Everyone has the right to pursue happiness. I respect and bless you. May you to be together for 100 years. Seeing that I didn't pester him further, Dex's sense of guilt seemed to lessen a bit. You should go back quickly. Siren should still be waiting for you at home. Right? Really? Please. Crazy guy. Just leave. As soon as Vex thought of Siren, he stopped pestering me and immediately rushed home. Now he was just a high school student living off his father. And Siren didn't have a job either. The whole family was supported by Vex's father. After this incident happened, the two of them still lived in the Vex family. But they didn't have a good life. Whenever Vex's father was unhappy, he would beat and scold them. The injuries on Vex's body were inflicted by his father. If he wasn't at home, I'm afraid Siren would be severely beaten by his father. He hurried home without stopping. But an accident still occurred. After Vex went to take the third mock exam, Vex's father took out all his anger of the past few days on Siren. Siren was beaten so badly that she was sent to the hospital. In a fit of desperation, Vex attacked his father. He was a sinister and vicious pervert at his core. And the consequences were predictable. Vex's father died in that basement and was found to have been dismembered. It was the same ending as mine back then. It was obvious who the murderer was. The day Vex was arrested, my score for the third mock exam came out. I got 698 points. It was a time for celebration. And the future looked promising. That night, my parents specially bought a cake to celebrate for me. At the dinner table, they also mentioned this matter and were all talking about how such a good life could end up like this. I heard that the investment project he found my father for was actually a scam. Vex's father was dead. Vex was in prison. But Siren was still alive. She was going to flee with all the money of the Vex family, but was caught red-handed by the creditors of the Vex family. She also ended up in prison because of the financial fraud. Everything came to a satisfactory end. I walked into the examination room with a relaxed mood. I performed steadily in the college entrance examination and got 690 points. Although I wasn't the top student in the city, my score had already reached the admission line at Peking University. On the day the college entrance examination scores were announced, my father held a grand banquet with 30 tables. The grandeur was such that those who didn't know might have thought I was getting married. After the banquet ended, I went to see Vex. I heard that he had been sentenced to death. When he saw me, a look of surprise appeared on Vex's face. Astra, I didn't expect that it would be you who was willing to come and see me in the end. I sneered, and a hint of mockery appeared in my eyes. Dex, I'm relieved to see that you're not doing well. He was confused. Astra, what do you mean? I said casually, don't you know that I was the one who reported that you and Siren went to a hotel? Vex's face turned pale with anger, and he seemed to want to break the glass and kill me. You bitch. So it was you. Astra, I'm going to kill you. He was so angry that he jumped up and down, but was held down by the prison guards and dragged inside. He went crazy, and his mouth was full of swear words scolding me. Actually, I still had a bit of regret. When the death row inmate was executed, I couldn't go and watch. Not seeing Vex die with my own eyes became a small regret for me. On the bus to Peking University, I quietly tore up the small note I had written to Vex back then and let the pieces scatter in the wind. He finally faded out of my life. I have a bright future. And he doesn't deserve it. The end.